Welcome to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be talking about Saddle by Svenski Parfums, so stay tuned for that. And if you like the content, guys, hit that like and subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. Saddle was released in 2017. It has notes of leather, tobacco, butterscotch, vanilla, and caramel. This is actually a fragrance I heard about on one of the forums for the community. People were discussing leather fragrances and someone mentioned this one. I hadn't heard of it before, so I decided to check it out. I looked it up. I saw a review previously a few years back from Redolessence, and honestly, it sounded really great. I ordered a sample of it and I did really enjoy it, so I picked up a full bottle. Now, for getting the full bottle, you can actually order this from Svenski Parfums themselves. They have a very reasonable flat shipping rate, even though this does ship from Sweden. Otherwise, I believe you can also get it from Crystal Fragrances. It is a 30 milliliter, but it's quite strong and quite potent. So I don't feel like the price point is too expensive, considering it is a niche fragrance. I mean, I think you can get this for around $95 US. Anyways, into the fragrance itself. This one opens up with a very strong leather note. Now, it's very, very leather forward. It comes off very clean. It comes off nice and polished. And it does, of course, remind me a little bit of a Saddle. And that is, of course, one of the inspirations of this fragrance. And it really does accomplish that really, really well. There is a little bit of sweetness lingering in the background, but this is definitely dominated by that leather note. In the opening, I find that there is some sweetness, but it's mostly in the air. Not as much when you smell it close to the skin. But as this one dries down, the butterscotch and the sweetness definitely comes more to the forefront for this fragrance. And it does really take off the edge of the leather. Some people have described this as too leather forward. I certainly don't think it is. I actually find that in the opening it is quite strongly leather, but that doesn't last a really long time. It does certainly blend with that sweetness within the first 10 to 15 minutes. And it isn't too leathery at all, in my opinion, especially if you like things like Tom Ford Tuscan Leather or Godolphin. This is one that you're not going to find too leathery at all. Now, the leather, as I mentioned, blends with that butterscotch. It really rounds it out, and I really like how they went with the sweet leather sort of style without following the trend that we see a lot of raspberry and leather. Of course, started by Tuscan Leather. It's in Godolphin, I believe, although I think that has other dried fruits. It's in a Byredo fragrance that I just can't seem to remember the name of right now, but it's done by a lot of fragrances. This is completely different. The leather smells very, very different from something like Tuscan Leather. As I mentioned in a previous video, I find that Tuscan Leather has this sort of chemically vibe, especially in the opening. This has a more smooth, polished leather right from the start. It doesn't have that same Tuscan Leather vibe. And it also doesn't have the kind of smooth suede vibe that the dry down from Ombre Leather has. So it has a very different kind of leather in between those two, which I do enjoy. And it does manage to add a different dimension with the butterscotch, which does add a really nice, sweet, almost gourmand touch to this fragrance and really makes it unique. So I think this is one that if you like leather fragrances, you should definitely check this one out. This is one that is a winner in my opinion. It's one that smells really great and it performs really well. The performance of this one, I get at least 2-3 hours of fairly strong projection. The sillage is also quite strong. And it is the kind of fragrance that is strong enough I can wear this outdoors and people will still smell me, even if they're not right beside me, even if I don't directly walk by them. So this is one that is fairly strong. Good value considering it's a niche fragrance and it's also very unique. It doesn't fall into that Tuscan Leather trope and it still stays distinct from something like Ombre Leather. So I do enjoy this one. For situations that I think you can wear this one, it is fairly versatile. I wouldn't necessarily wear it in a super casual sense, although I think you could definitely do it. I don't know that this is one I would wear in the warmer weather because it is both sweet and leathery. This could be a problem for some people's noses. Of course, you can wear it whenever you want, but I think it's definitely more well suited for the colder months. It does have a lot of quality behind it, so I think with that, it is something that could be worn in a suit and tie because it does have that uniqueness and that quality factor. But again, this is something that I've just worn when I'm going out or whatever, not doing anything too formal. So I think it does have both sides of that coin to it. At any rate, guys, if you like leather fragrances, I definitely recommend you check out Saddle from Svenski Parfums. Anyways, that's all for this one. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.